So this is my con story. It happened when I was about 10 or 11 years old. I was conned when I was that young. So, people who grew up in Nairobi will remember the phenomenon that was the Nairobi show that happened every September, October. And Nairobi show was a big deal, particularly for kids, because we knew we'd go to ASK grounds and we'd get all these treats. You could go to all the stands and stuff, but what we really looked forward to was the treats. You could buy chips, sausage. If you're lucky, you could get a bit of ice cream. You'd walk around, it was fun. There was a lot, aside from the stands, there was a lot of entertainment options. So there was the freak show. There was like a tent where they had a freak show. And when we'd go back to school the next week, we'd talk about the freakish things we'd seen. Of course, kids weren't allowed into the freak show because there was some weird stuff in there. But some parents would allow their kids to see it. So there was like, oh, did you see the cow that had 5 legs? Or the bodiless head where they'd put someone in a box and he'd talk to people and it looked like he was just a head. Or this, that, or the other. There was the floodlit events. They used to call them floodlit tattoos at night, if your parents were also allowing you to do that thing. There was army fight simulations, like parades and simulations where they had these smoke things that simulated. Like, it was like real gunfire and real smoke, it looked like. There was the red devils who'd come flying down on parachutes. It was wonderful. But like I said, the thing that we really looked forward to was the treats and the merchandise. There was a lot of like cheap merchandise that you'd pick up at the show. The most popular form of cheap merchandise was the paper caps. So it was a paper visor cap with like an elastic thing. And almost every tent had one. So if it was Farmer's Choice, if it was KCC, you'd go and pick up your visor and wear it and it looked cool. It didn't matter what was printed, but if you had the visor, you were cool. And people would make sport out of picking as many visors as possible. So if you had 2, you'd wear one this way, the other one that way. And then you'd wear the other ones as like medallions. Maybe one here, one at the back. It got a bit ridiculous. But the more visors you had, the better you were. And then there was the prime merchandise, which was the plastic visors. And it was like a plastic cap without the top that was tight on both ends. So you put it on like this. It looked really cool and futuristic. At least that's what we thought. Although in retrospect, it was probably pretty shady. Now, a lot of them were red and green. And you could buy them with goggles, plastic goggles that were round like that had like plastic rims, and so they were very flexible, and you put those on and walked around and you were the shit if you had those. So this edition of the Nairobi show I'm attending with my uncle. I think it was my mom's younger sibling who was sort of babysitting us, and I think he'd gotten a bit tired of, I'm taking care of these kids, well I also want to enjoy the show as well, because he was a young dude, like in his late teens or early 20s. So with the little money he was given, he bought us, my younger sister and I, the caps. Now what we didn't realize as we were buying them, we weren't really intent on wearing them. You didn't really want to wear them then. You knew you were going to wear them at home. You knew you were going to sneak them into school and be like, hey, Lenda show, check my goggles, check your nini. Or you wore them in the estate so the toys would know, who are Lenda show. But this seller insisted that we wear them there. So he said, menunua, wacha tuone vile naka, ebuva, sulaka poa, na sister ko, sulaka poa sana, tasafaa goggles, pa. Hey, sasa unaka poa sana, asanteni sana. He takes the money, gives the change, and we continue walking. Now, because we were there on a Friday, Saturday was the most crowded day for Nairobi show, but Friday was moderately crowded because that's when all the kids came. My uncle went to get tickets for us to go see something at the arena. And while I was standing there waiting for the tickets to be bought, wearing my visor and my goggles, out of nowhere, chokosh, walking boy, whatever you want to call it, Etchin, snatches the hat. Like he snatches it this way and runs into a crowd there. And while I'm looking, another one comes from this side, grabs the glasses and rushes into the crowd. And I stood there. I'd worn those things for all of 5 minutes probably, and now they were gone. And my uncle was buying tickets, and he'd come back and find me without them, and ask, what the hell? Now my sister still had hers, because the moment she saw mine being taken off, she took hers off and hid them. And now I was visorless and sunglasses less. Turns out that the reason why the seller has to have you wear them is so that you can be prime, like you're sitting duck to get robbed by the chokoras, and the chokoras will take the stock back to them. So they can just keep selling the stock over and over again. And as long as someone is wearing them, as long as it can be stolen, then they keep, they just have more profit than they have stock. They'd probably give the parking boys just a little bit of money and then take the stock back. That's why he insisted on having us wear them. When my gut was telling me, probably it's not a good idea to wear them, I'll go floss for people in the neighborhood and in school. I didn't realize that until much later on. I think it's my uncle who said, yeah, they stole it from you because they're taking it back to the seller, but we don't have money to buy you a new one. You'll have to share it with your sister. Yeah, so that was a recording story. Really simple, but those things meant the world to me at that point. As a story. I tried to do something. I went to my sister and said that a parking boy took it. And she said, I saw. And because he ran off so quickly and I didn't see him, she said, that's the guy. And this dude, I was like 11. This guy must have been about 13, 14. So he was much taller than me and he looked rough. And he had a big jacket with a bulge in the front where I guess he was hiding all the stolen stuff. Now, of course, you'd wonder why is someone who's stealing stuff so brave and so just standing there. But this was more his era, man. We got robbed all the time. Like, it was so normal. In fact, if you were robbed, you're the one who was stupid, not the person that robbed you. It's like, ungeka chonjo. Like, why are you just wearing your things to get... So you felt stupid for being robbed. So I saw this guy and I said, maybe I can take him. If I can, like, run up behind him and punch him in the head or in the ear, or if I run and punch him in the nose, it can happen. But fortunately, before that happened, my uncle showed up and said, don't even bother. These guys are bigger than you and they'll gang up and probably kill you. And I didn't want to die. I'd rather live without my visor and shades. That's what happened. This advice to anyone in Nairobi goes without saying, Janjaruka, usikoniwe. Lakini ukikoniwa, don't take it personally. It's not your fault. People have made it feel like it's not your fault. The world is rotten and it shouldn't blame you for its rottenness. When a victim too. It's alright.
Nadhani ni Rambo ama sijui ndio ile mnaita X-Fight, eh?
The emergency code red. Code red.
Don't miss Janjaruka the series. I'll be watching it along with you on